What's up, Tom Sox Nation? I'm Nick Grossman. We're back for another edition of Tom Sox Conversations, and this one is a special one. We're taking it all the way back to where it began with our guests today, Mike Goldberg and Travis Thomas. Coach Goldberg was the head coach in 2015, and then Coach Thomas was his pitching coach back then before taking over in 2016 to be the head coach. So two guys that were part of the Tom Sox right when they began. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So before we get into the interview, could each of you just give our fans at home a little bit of an update of what you guys have been up to since your time in Charlottesville and what you're currently doing?
Why don't you go first, Travis? I feel like you've had the bigger updates with being a dad.
All right. So since I left coaching with the Charlottesville Tom Sox, I ended up getting married to my wife, Cortland, and we had a little baby girl who's about a year and a half old now. And I got out of the baseball and coaching industry and went into commercial construction. So I'm actually, funny enough, working back in Charlottesville. We're living just north of town up in Greene County.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, man. That's great news.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't have any news quite as exciting as the birth of a new child, but I also left the coaching industry. I think the same year Travis did. We both left, I think the same year. That's right. But I actually went back to law school. So my wife and me are living in Williamsburg, Virginia now. I'm about to finish my last year of law school here. No children, but we did purchase a brand new Irish Doodle puppy about 3 weeks ago, which I'm not going to insult Travis and say it's like having a baby, but it's been a lot of work. That's
I mean,
big for us right now.
You spent a summer managing the Tom Sox and all those college kids. I'm sure that you're well prepared to handle a dog. If you can manage 30 of them, one dog shouldn't be too much.
Yeah, you would think, right? But no.
Team must have been more well-behaved back then. So, Coach Goldberg, you're actually in a unique situation. When you were the head coach of the Sox, you coached a few of your college teammates in Jake Sidwell and Brian Fortier. What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome. Sidwell was, I think, the first player we signed when I got the job. He'd been at Davidson when I was there, and he was just an A-plus kid and, even better player probably. I guess better person, even better player. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. But great kid, knew we wanted to sign him. I think he's actually coaching now in Charlottesville, which is really sort of cool circle there. And, same thing with Fortier. He was just a great guy, and he was an amazing player. So we had the chance to sign him late in the season. I just said, hey, he got cut loose. It's their loss. I think if we pick him up, he's going to have a great season for us. And I want to say he had 2 walk-off singles, RBI game-winning singles in the first week he was with us. So it made me probably look, that was the height of my sort of looking good that season, him showing up and, winning 2 games for us in the first 4 or 5 days. But it was awesome. I mean, they're still friends to this day. And, it was a little bit weird at first, having gone from, hey, we're teammates 12 months before, and now I'm your coach. And, I think I can remember at least once when Sidwell got mad at me for pinch hitting for him when they brought a lefty in. But all in all, it was a great experience, and, certainly didn't destroy our friendship or anything.
That's funny stuff. Well, Fortier actually ended up having a pretty good summer. Batted 280 in the VBL, so that's impressive. He must have done something right with him.
He's a great player.
Yeah, he is. And then we talked to Jake Sidwell earlier this week, so I think Tom Sox fans, you can expect a special from him coming out in the next week or so. And then, Coach Thomas, shifting to you, back when you were the pitching coach for the Sox, you coached a couple of guys who ended up getting drafted, in Brooks Crawford and A.J. Franklin. How did it feel to see all of their hard work pay off, and do you feel your summer with them maybe played a little bit of a role in them making it to the next level?
Yeah, well, the one good thing about the organization that up there in Charlottesville is that they have really a good eye of recruiting the talent and having the connections with the coaching staffs to be able to get those guys and those caliber of players there. The big thing I think that summer was with those guys is, especially with the talent pool that they pulled and the ceiling those kids had, you don't have to do much coaching for those level of players. You just have to make sure they have a good communication with them. And that's what I try to do, is just have good communication, feel how they're feeling, give tidbits here and there, not trying to reinvent the wheel with those guys. They got to where they were, or to those big schools, and where they're going based off of what they already had. I didn't need to reteach them anything. Little advice here and there. Take it, use it, don't use it. It's all good. Just communication was key with them.
Definitely sounds like a good game plan. So you talked a little bit about connections there. Coach Goldberg, what's it like to see this strong connection between the Tom Sox and Davidson that's kind of developed over the years, where we've seen each Tom Sox roster in the past couple of years has had 2 or 3 Wildcats at least. What's it like for you to see that you kind of left that mark and started off that trend?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a trend of, hey, pretty solid, and then I leave and they get really good. So it's been, I don't know if my exit has played a strong role in both those programs, kind of taking it to the next level. But, that theory has certainly been floated by some of my friends. It's actually awesome. I mean, both of them are such special places. I think the overlap in the values is probably why that partnership is so strong. They both try to really do things the right way. Davidson with the, hey, we're a Division I athletic team, but, still really value academics and, being good people. And I think the Tom Sox is the same thing, doing something kind of creative and new with the internship program is not something you've seen a lot of summer teams invest in. So, that kind of overlap makes sense when you think about it. And it's pretty exciting, honestly. I love kind of still following both these teams. And, you see great kids who go on to, whether it's play professional baseball or do really cool things. Like I think Drew Scott is working in some lab somewhere curing cancer. You see really, really cool things both on the baseball field and after, both when it comes to Tom Sox players and the Davidson players. So it's pretty exciting.
It's definitely been a great partnership on and off the field that we hope to continue to build off of in future years. So now taking a little trip down memory lane, what were your favorite memories from your summer spent in Charlottesville with the Sox, whether it be on or off the field? Either one of you.
Number one memory, we're at least kind of me and Travis shared memory would have to be our other assistant coach that year, Jimbo McHugh, driving off a cliff at our house, completely unbaseball related, but we were living out in the John Harris's estate in his beautiful guest house, and there's kind of a little steep drop off for the driveway, and I can tell the story because obviously he was fine and not hurt, but he was backing up one day, kind of caught himself half on the cliff, half off, kind of teetering. So me and Travis had to come out there and sort of help him figure out how to drive through the woods and down a cliff to get out of there. But I think there's a video that still circulates once every couple of years between the three of us. That's pretty.
Yeah, I was actually looking at it a couple of days ago, and I thought about sending it back to Jim, but I didn't really want to put him in a bad mood.
I was like, I should have it ready for this, because I bet they're going to ask us what my favorite memory is. And I'm like, all the baseball stuff aside, all the great people in Charlottesville aside, which, can't say enough great things. Seeing that was, one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Definitely sounds like a funny moment.
I'm going to add on to that, Mike, is more of an off-field kind of event. Some of the times when the bus would break down on the side of Afton Mountain created for some memories that were at that time not the most pleasurable, but at the same time, something that you look back when you drive over the mountain, you're like, oh, man. Remember that time in the middle of August when it's 150 degrees and 1,000% humidity and we were stuck on the side of the mountain?
Yeah, driving 4 miles an hour up the side of the Shenandoah Valley, and you got joggers passing the bus on the right side of the road as we're just creeping up there with 50 players in the bus. That was
And I think something that you can take away as far as the memories go from it, and I can even go back to even my college days of playing, was the on-field is great. Those were some of the best times ever. That's why you play the game, for those moments on field. But it was the in-betweens that, for me, have seemed like have had the lasting impression. It's the things that I remember from it is the pregame BPs, talking to the guys, making the rounds in the outfit. It's just the routine and just the relaxedness of the pregame and everything that goes around with that. I remember those vividly in some of those conversations. They weren't, the most, I don't know how to, they were memorable. They were just memorable conversations, and just catching up and just hanging out on the field was something I always remember.
Yeah, everything with Cosmo. Cosmo was great that year.
Cosmo added another
his game that first year.
That's right.
Just came out swinging and left his presence felt on Charlottesville. He's still doing it years later. One of the things you mentioned were those bus rides and how memorable those were. I know before we started the interview, both of you were kind of talking about the Sheets runs. So is that a thing back then in 2015? You guys were still going to Sheets after games?
Yeah, every once in a while, yeah. We would make runs to Sheets and let the guys pile off, get their orders, and then head on out. Yeah. It was a thing.
That's a tradition that still carries on. As an intern, I remember those long nights out in Covington and such. On the way home, we'd stop at Sheets. The team would be fired up. Win or lose, that team loved going to Sheets. So it's awesome that you guys started that tradition.
Yeah. You looked forward to it. Those were the win or loss. Afterwards, you're like, well, at least we're going to Sheets.
There's one thing Tom Sox fans probably don't understand is how memorable and how fun those Sheets runs were. Everyone does it, but something was special about when you did it with the group of guys like that. So that's awesome. You guys started it and it's still going on. Do you guys still keep up with the Sox, by the way? How familiar are you with kind of what's going on the past couple of years?
Yeah. I think I used to watch every game when Travis was still coaching, especially when I was concerned that he might pass me on the all-time coaches wins list, which he almost did, almost got there. But yeah, so I think, as you get older, it's harder to watch, every game. But I'll still check, once or twice a week, see where they are in the standings. Obviously this year it's a little different, but I'll still keep up with them, and I'll check on the guys I coached and who, especially, obviously the Davidson guys who don't mind telling you're sort of near and dear to my heart. So, we'll check and see how they're doing in professional baseball. If they're still playing, kind of, pour some on the ground when one of them gets cut or released. And if the ones who are still playing, if they're doing well, we'll text about it and kind of, hey, look what Billy Cook did, or, stuff like that. So definitely.
Yeah. Still in touch with it all. The one thing I think has really changed is the social media side of it is really skyrocketed. So it's helped me out in my position, because since we moved down to Charlottesville, there's been part of me that was like, I really I want to get back into it. But, life, you have different roles and responsibilities. So for right now, for me, the time frame was, raising my family. So I keep up the best I can on social media, which has helped out and has allowed me to keep up with them quite a bit.
Yeah, you guys do a good job with that. It's a lot easier to keep up with them than I would imagine if it was another program, just because, Charlottesville is such a special place with the resources they're willing to expend on keeping the fan base informed, which is nice.
Definitely appreciate hearing that. I'm sure Drew Goodman does too. He does an unbelievable job with the social media department. You look around the Valley League, no one really does it like the Sox. And part of that is Drew Goodman and his army of interns, as the rest of the league likes to refer to us as. But it's always awesome to hear that you guys still check in on social media. So as an outsider, though, I know you're not that necessarily tapped in with the organization, but how have you seen the team grow, the organization grow since that first summer back in 2015?
I think, and I want to preface this by saying we had some amazing players, both, in 2014 and 2015 when Travis took over. But, obviously they've gotten more and more talent over the years, which has been pretty cool to see as the reputation's grown of, hey, this is a organization that takes care of people. It's going to do it right. You can see that level of talent that, college coaches are willing to lend to them, willing to trust them with. And it's been cool to see how that trust has sort of manifested on the field in more wins and championships.
Yeah, I'll just mimic off of Mike. I think it's been the leaps and bounds the organization has made in such a short time frame. I mean, what was it? The year after I was head coaching, didn't they go out and win the whole thing? So I mean, it's a pretty impressive feat that they did in that short of a span, 3 years into existence, and they're coming out the top dog. It's pretty impressive.
The organization has definitely come a long way. They won in 2017, runners up in 2018, and then won in 2019. So it's been a nice little run.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate all you guys have done for the Tom Sox. You definitely played a role in getting the team to where they are now, part of organization history and lore of the Tom Sox that people will never forget. If you're ever back in Seville and want to catch a game at Seville Weekly Ballpark, I'm sure guys would love to have you out there, maybe even throw out the first pitch to a standing ovation. So appreciate all you've done for the Sox and appreciate you joining me today.
Thanks for having us, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Nick.
Of course. So Tom Sox Nation, that's all the time we have for today on this edition of Tom Sox Conversations. If you want more content like this, be sure to check out our Twitter page, Facebook page, YouTube page. Got a bunch of content coming out. Our guy, David Argo, never sleeps. He's constantly editing videos, putting them out daily. Bunch of great stuff coming your guys' way soon, so make sure to check it out. And hey, as always, go Sox.